Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would like to welcome you today to this session, which will focus on topics that are in Cluster 5 and that are dealing more specifically with batteries. My name is Philippe Froissart. I'm the head of the Future Urban and Mobility Systems in DG Research and Innovation, and I will be the moderator of this session today. I will be accompanied this morning with two distinguished speakers, Susanna Crack and Johan Blondel, who will take turn to present the different topics that address batteries in the work program 21-22. So how are we going to organize ourselves? After a short introduction, the speakers will present their topics and they will stop regularly to take your questions. The questions can be asked via the Slido application. I would suggest that as soon as you have a question, you actually post it on Slido. Don't wait for the end of the presentation. Don't wait for the Q&A. The purpose of the info day is for you really to get the information that you need to prepare your proposals. So don't hesitate if you have questions. Don't be shy, post it. There is no such thing as a silly question. There are only silly answers, but since my speakers are great speakers today, they will only provide you excellent answers. Regarding the timing, we should stop the session at around 10:50. Of course, if we are efficient, we can stop before. But this is typically the timeline that we have. So we have 1 hour, 20 minutes ahead of us to present and discuss the different topics that we'll be touching upon the domain of batteries. Now, I would like maybe that we open the presentation, and I have a few slides that I would like to go through with you. So next slide. Yes, on this slide, I would like to just present to you an overview of the structure of the Cluster 5 work program. As you know, the Cluster 5 work program, it's about climate, energy, and mobility. It's a very big cluster with about 15 billion over the next 7 years, and it's evenly spread between climate, energy, and mobility. And we have 6 destinations in that cluster. 2 are for transport, 2 are for energy, 1 for climate action, and there is a dedicated destination for cross-sectorial issues, cross-cutting issues, in which we have the batteries area. Why do we have batteries under cross-sectoral? It's because batteries touch upon energy and mobility, and it is felt that it was the best place for the batteries topics to be sitting in the work program for Cluster 5. Next slide, please. I think this slide is very interesting, and I'm actually very grateful for my colleagues to have prepared that slide because it provides you with an overview of the budget distribution between the different areas of activities and intervention in Cluster 5. And you can see that the budget that has been allocated to the batteries area is actually quite significant. It's very much in line with some of the other big co-program partnerships that have been going to be implemented in Cluster 5. And the size of the budget and that is identified and earmarked for the batteries partnership, co-program partnership, the implementation of that battery co-program partnership is proportionate to the ambition that we have in Europe to support the whole battery value chain. And I think I would like to stop here my presentation, and I will pass the floor to Johan, who will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Philippe. Next slide, please. So all of the topics that we are going to present today fall under the batteries partnership that has recently been launched on the 23rd of June. This partnership will run across the full duration of Horizon Europe, and it is covering the entire value chain of batteries. So you see it goes from raw materials across advanced materials for batteries, then constructions of cells, modules, and packs, application integration, and it also takes into, into account the end of life of the batteries, so second life and dismantling. Now, the focus particularly is going to be on the areas that are highlighted in green, so the advanced materials, the cells, and the end of life. All of the other areas are also going to be covered, but specifically for the application integration, We are going to work together with other partnerships. For instance, the integration of batteries into ships, aircraft, trains, and so on. That is going to be handled in the appropriate partnerships. Next slide, please. The partnership itself is, sorry, I don't see it yet. The partnership is set up between the Commission and an organization called BEPA, Batteries European Partnership Association. Philippe, could you confirm if the next slide has been?
Well, I can confirm that the next slide has not been posted in, so maybe
okay. I know there is some delay.
There might be some delay indeed.
So, okay, there we are. Thank you very much. So as I said, all of the topics, all of the battery topics are going to be covered by the partnership. And this is a partnership set up between the Commission on one hand and BEPA, the association, on the other hand. This is an association that is currently about 165 members, equally split between industry and research. Now, how did we arrive at the topics? Well, on one hand, top down, there was the co-creation group inside the Commission. So where all the different DGs involved in the work program and also consultation with the different partnerships took place in order to drive the policy lines. On the other hand, there was a bottom-up provision also of topic suggestions. And this was done through the ETIP, the European Technology and Innovation Platform, Batteries Europe, also with involvement from the platform Battery 2030 Plus. And this was done, of course, because the partnership was not formally established yet. In the future, we are going to interface more directly with the partnership in order to have top-down and bottom-up agreement on the topics. Of course, we went through full inter-service consultation, member states consultation as well, and there is a joint agreed strategic research and innovation agenda that sets out the topics, the areas, and the targets that the partnership aims to achieve over its full lifespan. There is no need to be a member of BEPA in order to apply for topics because the calls are fully open. Nevertheless, it is warmly recommended that you become a member because it gives you the opportunity to participate in the definition and the driving of the strategy. I would just like to underline, due to the limited time and the limited number of slides that we can present, our presentations are not exhaustive. There is much more information provided in the full text that you can find on the Funding and Tenders portal. And please have a look at that text for which the link is provided below. So this concludes more or less a general introduction to the partnership and its topics. The next slide shows you the topics that we are going to present over the course of this session. So my colleague Susanna is going to handle topic 1, followed by a Q&A session. Then topics 3 and 4 are going to be covered by myself with a Q&A, then 4 and 5, again with a Q&A, 6 again by Susanna with a Q&A session, and then 7 again by Susanna, followed by Q&A. So you see for 2021, we have a total of 7 topics for a budget of 160 million, and the call deadline is the 19th of October 2021. The topics for 2022 are already available, but as the call is not open yet for submission, this will be the subject of the next info day in the course of next year. So, having said all this, I now pass the word to my colleague Susanna, who will take you through the first topic. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning to all. Maybe we can go to the next slide. So yes, I will present to you the first topic for the 2021 call on batteries, which is about sustainable processing, refining, and recycling of raw materials. So as Johan just mentioned, for all topics under this first call, it has been opened on June 24th, and it will close on October 19th, 2021. So more specifically, this topic is about developing innovative solutions to enhance the processing and refining of raw materials in Europe in a sustainable and competitive way. So the key focus here is to decrease the dependency of Europe on imported battery chemicals and raw materials, and also in parallel create new business opportunities in doing so. And in that sense, as you can see on the screen, expected outcomes for this topic will aim to reduce European dependency on imported materials such as nickel, cobalt, and lithium by increasing the refining capacity to develop battery-grade materials in Europe through, for example, the enhancement of European low-grade deposits and secondary material sources, and also by developing innovative, cost-effective, and safe extraction technologies. And so this also covers battery-grade intermediates like lithium hydroxide, for example, to be competitively produced and refined in Europe, again, in a sustainable and acceptable way, thereby improving the competitiveness of European industries, particularly the battery and mobility sectors. So the idea behind this topic is certainly to bring the European battery, metal, and chemical production to global leadership. So another expected outcome is the creation of new business opportunities for European industries, and also to create additional jobs from increased processing and refining capacities. And so overall, this topic will help to reduce carbon emissions, increase energy efficiency, and result in more efficient resource use and yield of raw materials. Next slide, please. So regarding the scope, proposals are expected to address one or several of the following points in order to secure a competitive battery industry in Europe. So the first point is on solutions to a sustainable lithium value chain. So this is really about creating novel sorting technologies, new comminution methods, alternative energy sources, and all of this to improve energy efficiency, CO2 emissions, and reduced water use in lithium processing and refining. But it is also about focusing on methods for lithium extraction and refining lithium materials to battery-grade chemicals or even lithium metal. And so this point in particular also will require some close collaboration with other work program calls that deal with raw materials. So this is especially true for cluster 4 in the resilience call. So then the second and third points that you can see are, let's say, more about finding solutions for a sustainable nickel and cobalt value chain. So here we're talking about new refining processes to increase the value and yield from European mines, as well as from sustainably sourced and imported raw materials. But we're also talking about improvements in the performance and efficiency of existing refining processes in Europe. So with focus on developing new methodologies to reduce, again, carbon emissions, increase energy and resource efficiency, and enhance raw material flexibility. This in particular also covers the development of new recoverable reagents, processes for battery metal leaching and extraction, but this is also about new smelting and slag engineering technologies to address nickel and cobalt losses in the smelting process. Then we have the third point, which is on finding innovative solutions and processes for precursor materials, so specifically to replace batch processing. So this covers process control solutions for different cathode active material recipes, but also complete process design concepts and process optimization to minimize and also to recover off-specification battery metals and compounds. Then we have two more points that are a bit more general. So the scope of this topic also covers zero liquid discharge processing for battery chemicals and precursor materials, as well as the development of new business models for co-processing and process integration. And then finally, this topic also calls for the combination of process modeling with environmental impact evaluation. So for individual primary processes, this includes life cycle analysis, and in that sense, this should be done in collaboration with the expected project under Destination 5, topic number 4, which is about life cycle analysis and design for sustainable circularity. This topic in particular focuses on developing a holistic approach for zero emission mobility solutions, but also for the battery value chain. Next slide, please. So here you see some practical details on the topic. It is a research and innovation action aiming for a TRL level of minimum 4, maximum 5. There's 21 million euros that are allocated to this topic for the funding of 3 projects. So as you can also see on the screen, and as I already mentioned, so proposals are expected to coordinate with projects funded under the Cluster 4 resilience call, particularly the topics on green and sustainable materials. and also aim to contribute to the European Raw Materials Alliance, so by boosting the recovery and recycling of critical raw materials. And with that, that's it for topic number 1. Philippe, back to you.
Thank you very much, Susanna. Very clear. And so we have time for a few questions. I realize that, yes, we have indeed received already a question, and this is something that you might take, which is probably linked to the edition of the editing in the slides that were prepared for the purpose of this Info Day session. So, Johan, maybe you want to answer that question?
Yes, indeed. Very well spotted. And I'm afraid it's a systematic error. So on all the slides, please replace D1 by D2. That's what you get from copying and pasting and selective blindness. So indeed, it applies to all of the slides. You will see it everywhere.
So our participants have an eagle eye, and they have spotted the mistake very quickly. Incidentally, I should inform you that we have about 70 participants recording and listening to this session, which is good. So I don't know if there are any more questions that are coming from Slido. Maybe there is a point that you made, Johan, at the beginning of your presentation regarding the role of the partnership in the preparation of the calls and the topics. And you mentioned the fact that you don't need to be a member of the association to participate to the calls. I mean, can you clarify that again?
Yes. So in fact, the fact that all of the topics fall under a partnership is totally transparent to the participants. It just refers to the way that we have structured the topics and that we have this joint commitment between the private side and the public side. And this implies also commitments on both sides. On the side of the Commission, we set aside a budget of 925 million to address all of the topics under Horizon Europe on batteries. From the private side, it implies that they will match this contribution in kind through various types of contribution. So the participation in the projects, but also additional activities. That could be private investments, dissemination activities that fall outside the work plan of the projects. But indeed, for participants itself, it is totally transparent, and it doesn't change a thing for you as an applicant that all of this is falling under a partnership or not. It just provides more stability and an overarching goal across the full duration of the work program.
Yeah, I think, thank you very much, Johan, to make that clarification again, because this is very important for the potential participants. I think we received another question from Slido on the TRL. So I read it out loud. Expected TRL is quite low. How deep the new business model aspect should be addressed? Could I ask one of you to answer that question? Maybe Johan again.
Okay. Well, indeed, the expected TRL is quite low. The business model aspect, I think, cannot go into a lot of detail, I would imagine. The intention is that you provide some guidelines, some ideas on how to set up this business model without actually going as far as to demonstrate it. So it's more keeping it in mind in the development of the project proposal. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. There is another question which is related to actually the association BEPA, and the question is where we can find the strategic research innovation agenda of the BEPA partnership.
Okay, I will take that again then.
Thank you.
The strategic research and innovation agenda has not yet been formally adopted at the level of the partnership. I mean, it is very stable and we have an agreement on it, but in order to formally adopt it, we need a first partnership board meeting, and that is going to take place only in September. However, the stable version is in a publishable format. And I have not verified yet if it is actually downloadable from the BEPA website or not. In any case, it will be soon.
Okay, thank you. What I suggest now is we move back to the main presentation of the topics. And actually, I give you back the floor, Johan, for the presentation of the second and third topic that we have in stock today for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Philippe. So topic number 2 under destination 2 and not 1 focuses on the development of advanced high-performance generation 3B lithium-ion batteries in order to support electromobility and other applications. So here we are considering actually 2 different options, and that will become clearer on the next slide. We want higher performance, but there's 2 pathways to get to that. One is to go for high capacity batteries, and the other is to go for high voltage batteries, excuse me. In any case, all of the proposals should contribute to all of the expected outcomes that you see. So they should all deliver on cost, performance, safety, sustainability, and recyclability. So we take into account the full value chain of the batteries, and sustainability and recyclability are very important. But of course, cost, performance, and safety are very important for the acceptance in order to drive the success of the adoption of these batteries. Of course, everything should be geared up for cost-competitive large-scale manufacturing. And we are therefore looking for an increase in energy density of the batteries. This will lead to an increased driving range at a reduced cost, and this will lead to broader market penetration, helping Europe to achieve all of its goals. Now, all of this is rather vague, and in order to provide a little bit more substance, there are some indicative KPIs. Please note that you do not need to achieve these KPIs. It's more to provide you some guidance where you should aim for. So you see values there for gravimetric and volume energy density at the cell level. You see figures for the power density, and specifically for the high voltage application, these cells are expected to operate at 4.7 volts or higher. Then all of the cells should live for 3,000 plus cycles for the high capacity variant, and 2,000 plus cycles for the high voltage variant. And finally, the cost at the pack level is supposed to be lower than 100 euros per kilowatt hours. The next slide then provides you a little bit more detail on the scope. So for the higher capacity approach, of course, we are looking for materials that go for higher capacity cathode materials that operate in 4.3 to 4.5 volts range, but at the same time they provide a good cycle life, and that can be achieved through protective coatings for safety improvements. On the anode side, we are looking at high performance anodes, of course, with advanced graphite and silicon materials, but the other option that is available here is to go for a complete silicon or other alloying anode solution in a nanostructured form. Of course, the inactive materials, the bindings, the conductive carbons, current collectors, the separators, they need to be fully compatible with the anode and cathode materials. And the electrolytes are expected to be stable in the voltage range addressed by these cells. And of course, new and advanced processing routes are expected for these novel materials and the advanced electrode and the cell module designs. Now, this was for the high capacity approach. For the higher voltage approach, so 4.7 volts or upwards, we are targeting the development of high voltage stable electrolyte systems, so either new electrolytes or new formulations. The cathode active materials should equally be stable at these high voltages. We are asking you also to look at the tailoring and the operando monitoring of the electrochemical interplay between the cathode active material and the electrolyte formation of the stable solid electrolyte interface. And then, of course, high performance anodes that are compatible and that match these high voltage cathodes and electrolytes. And then finally, we also ask that you look into structuring of the cathode and anode electrodes in order to address competition between the electrodes, but also to reduce the resistance or improve the conductivity. So this concludes topic number 2. A very close variation, it follows then on the next slide, where we go to topic number, sorry, I forgot this. So it is indeed a research and innovation action. We aim at a final TRL of 6 or higher. We have 24 million available with an expected budget per topic or per proposal of 6 to 8 million. So that allows us to fund 3 competitive projects. And we expect that the projects are aligned with ongoing Horizon 2020 projects on this subject, so that they take into account all of the available existing work that is being done now. So then the next slide, as I said, aside from generation 3B, which is still using liquid electrolytes, we are also launching a topic on solid state batteries. So either generation 4A or 4B. And the reason that we go for these solid electrolytes is for the higher stability, the avoidance of the risk of a thermal runaway, and the increased safety and stability that this type of batteries can offer. So in terms of expected outcomes, well, one important thing to notice is that in all cases, we aim for a reduction of the cobalt content in the cells. Aside from that, the proposals should contribute to all of the following expected outcomes. So they should deliver on cost, performance, safety, thermal stability, sustainability, and linked to that, the large-scale manufacturing and uptake by the electromobility sector. So you recognize the wording, the reasoning is exactly the same as for the 3B topic. This will lead to an increase in energy density, therefore leading to an increased driving distance, and the broader user acceptance will help us to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions of the transport sector, enabling Europe to reach its goals for 2050. Again, to make it a little bit more concrete, we have indicative KPIs here that can help to guide you in your research. So we are looking at gravimetric energy density at cell level of 400 plus watt hours per kilogram, and volumetric of 800 plus watt hours per liter. And that should progress to 1000 plus watt hours per liter for the generation 4B that we are going to address on the following slide. Cycle life is expected to be 3000 and upwards. And we also expect the cells to operate at a charging rate of 3 to 5 C. And in case of aviation applications, that should go up to 10 C. The cost at the pack level should go down below 75 euros per kilowatt hour. And for the high power variants for the fast charging, airborne, heavy duty, and so on, we are targeting over 500 watts per kilogram and 700 watts per liter. So the next slide provides you some more guidance in terms of the scope. Again, we have 2 options here. It is not necessary to go to address both generation 4A and 4B. You can take your pick between the 2, although it is of course possible to address the 2 if you do it in a credible and realistic way. So for the generation 4A, which is solid state but using conventional cathode materials, the projects are expected to cover all of the bullets that you see. So low direct current resistance, reduce the thickness of the anode, a thin solid electrolyte with high ionic conductivity, then concept and strategies for the manufacturing of the new solid electrolyte interlayers, the improved interface design so that we have efficient charge transfer and stability, mechanical and electrochemical. And of course, all of the developments should have no negative impact on energy densities, safety, especially, and cyclability. Coating strategies for the current collectors should also be addressed. Now for the option where you go for generation 4B, which is solid state with lithium metal anode materials, you should cover one or several of the bullets. So new materials, chemistries to increase the energy densities beyond the state of the art, lithium metal on the anode side, improved reversibility, homogeneity, and density. Then, of course, the biggest challenge is to handle and manufacture the pure lithium metal in a dry atmosphere. We aim, of course, for low-cost manufacturing strategies, and we offer the option to go for an anode-less design or current collector coating strategies. New cathode chemistries to reach high energy densities, improved interface design, and bipolar cell design concepts and processing. And the final slide shows you a summary of this topic. So again, we are aiming for a TRL of 6 or above. We have 36 million available with an expected contribution per project of 8 to 9 million, allowing us to fund 4 projects. And again, the projects should interface and align with the ongoing Horizon 2020 projects on this subject, so that existing work can be taken into account and we ensure an efficient uptake. So this concludes the presentations of topics 2 and 3, and I hand the word back to Philippe.
Thank you very much, Johan, for this very interesting presentation on those 2 very important topics. Now I see that we have indeed received the questions from Slido on the recyclability. So do you want to take it? As almost all the calls are stressing the recyclability, if a company can use a recycled material, does it mean that this company can get involved in that call?
I think the answer is a very simple yes. Yeah, if indeed the recycled material is available and can be taken into account for the production of cells, of course, yes.
Okay, I don't see any more questions from the Slido application at this stage. Maybe I have a question myself to you, which are related to the famous KPIs, the indicative KPIs that you have mentioned in both topics. You say they are indicative. That means that you do not oblige the participants to fulfill these or to commit to those KPIs, to these KPIs. But can they pick and choose? I mean, in a sense that they could commit to some and not commit to others. How is that going to be reflected in the evaluation?
I think the thing to keep in mind is mainly that you should not go against some of the KPIs. I mean, you can go for pick and choose, like you say. You could, for instance, go for a very high cyclability and very high performance, but if the cost becomes prohibitive or it is impossible to manufacture something at a reasonable cost, then that would be a no-go. So we need to keep in mind the final targets and work towards those. I think that would be the way to read them. There's no obligation, of course, to meet all of these targets. It's more guidance so that you already work towards them. And do not opt for a strategy that totally excludes one of these KPIs.
Thank you. Maybe I have another trick question to you regarding the TRL level of the action, and it says on the slides that you've presented that the TRL is requested TRL is of the order of 6 or above, while it is a research innovation action. I mean, what is the rationale for that?
Well, I think the big question here is the starting point of the TRL. If you already start at a TRL of, let's say, 4 to 5 and then go to 6, that would be a clear innovation action where you focus more on the demonstration per se than on the technical development. In this case, we acknowledge that, okay, there is still a lot of basic research to be done. So the starting TRL is a lot lower, and therefore it does qualify as a research and innovation action.
Thank you very much, Johan. So I think I don't see any more questions from Slido at this stage. I remind the participants that they can ask questions at any time, even if you want to ask questions on a topic that has been presented to you a little bit earlier on. It doesn't matter. We are always happy to take your questions and answer them as best as we can. What I suggest now we do is to move on, and then I think it's again down to you, Johan, to present the next topics, and I will give back the floor to you for the next topics.
Okay, thank you very much, Philippe. So next we go to topic number 4. So we just spoke about the topics addressing the development of generation 3B and generation 4A and 4B. And now we have, again, a pair of topics that address the other side, mainly the manufacturing of these cells. So development of manufacturing technologies. As you know, currently a lot of the market is in the hands of Asian competitors, and the aim for Europe is to regain a competitive position on the market. So therefore, we need to develop really a competitive manufacturing process for both generation 3B and generation 4 batteries. Topic 4 here addresses the generation 3 cells. So it aims, like I said, to provide Europe a leadership production in the production of batteries, but focusing on a low carbon footprint. And this is to be achieved through reduced energy consumption, lower carbon footprint, of course, and no volatile organic compounds emissions. All of the processing should be scalable, should be safer, cheaper, cleaner, and less energy consuming compared to the state of the art. The coating techniques for the electrodes should completely eliminate organic solvents as slurry dispersing media, so that we can avoid the large capital costs that are associated to the recovery of these solvent vapors. And we should go for the implementation of dry manufacturing techniques, such as 3D patterning of active electrode layers and or hydrophobic surface treatment of the electrodes with next generation materials. Also, we should industrialize closed loops and process design so that low-value chemicals that are left over from the manufacturing processes can be upcycled to high value and necessary inputs to the battery manufacturing industry. The next slide shows you a little bit more detail on the scope. So again, to underline, it should be scalable, safer, cheaper, cleaner, and less energy consuming compared to state-of-the-art technologies. So this means that we should optimize wet coating that is currently based on water, but preferably go towards dry coating that offers a lot of benefits. And you will see a lot more detail in the full call text, which provides you examples and further guidance. So all of the processes are expected to address the notion of design to manufacture, so that we can reduce the production costs and increase the battery performance at the same time, leading to increased efficiency and a better cycle life. Also, we expect that proposals address digitalization within their scope. So digital modeling, but also enhanced digital monitoring of the entire process, so that Industry 4.0 and even 5.0 concepts can already be taken into account in setting up these production cycles. Very important, as we are working with new materials, is that we ensure both technical solutions and standardized approaches to ensure the workers and the users' safety. So this is really a very important aspect that should be addressed there. The challenge here for this topic is proposed for lithium ion up to generation 3, and you will see that the next topic is going to cover generation 4. And I should underline that the focus is on manufacturing technology development up to pilot level proof of concept. So the actual development of the industrial machinery is beyond the scope of this topic. So focus more on the concept overall than the actual machinery development. The next slide shows you an overview. So again, this is a research and innovation action. We target a TRL of 5 to 6 at the end of the project. We have 20 million available. We expect 5 million per proposal, so that allows us to address 4 proposals. And we expect that the projects align with the Horizon 2020 project Leap Planet, which is a network of pilot lines, and that they establish interfacing with this network during the course of their implementation of the project. This concludes topic number 4. The next slide takes us to topic number 5, which is, like I said, a bit it's pendant, but now applied to solid-state batteries, generation 4A and 4B. Again, the reasoning is very similar to what I already mentioned. It should put Europe at the industrial production lead for next generation, all solid-state battery generations all through the value chain. We should aim for industrially scalable manufacturing solutions for different approaches to solid-state batteries, addressing all of the core components. So electrolytes, anodes, either lithium, metal or carbon-based, and of course their cathodes that go along with it. It should contribute to climate-neutral transport via the development of breakthrough technology in SSB batteries, which I already mentioned on the topic for generation 4A. And as such, it will contribute to cost-effective, low-carbon footprint and low-emission mass production of generation 4 technology in Europe. The next slide shows you the scope of the topic. Again, please go back to the text, which provides a lot more detail. So these are just a number of selected highlights. We expect that the topic addresses, or rather that the proposals address the processing, the handling, and the integration of lithium metal anodes into cells, with special attention to solid-solid interface and protection layers for generation 4B, but you can also start from generation 3B and go for advanced silicon carbon composite based anodes, and then go towards a generation 4A battery. Of course, the appropriate processing techniques for the preparation of dense electrode and electrolyte layers need to be foreseen so that we can scale up towards industrial gigawatt-hour mass production. The focus, again, is on cost, performance, safety, and sustainability, with clear prospects for cost-competitive large-scale manufacturing and uptake by the electromobility sector. As I mentioned in the previous topic, we should address digitalization within the scope. So digital twins, modeling of the process flow, but also enhanced data capturing, allowing Industry 4.0 and 5.0 concepts. And of course, the entire production should be more sustainable compared to the current lithium battery manufacturing. Again, the focus is on the manufacturing technology development up to pilot level proof of concept, and the industrial machinery development is beyond the scope of this topic. The following slide shows you the overview. So again, the research and innovation action targeting a TRL of 5 to 6 or above. We have 26 million euros available, and we estimate 6 to 7 million per proposal, which will allow us funding of 3 topics. So this project should make a link to the pendant that I mentioned earlier, the topic on the development of the generation 4A and 4B lithium-ion batteries, so that all that is developed there in these proposals is taken into account also for the production and the manufacturing of these cells. So I think this concludes the presentation of topics 4 and 5, and I hand the word back to you, Philippe.
Thank you, Johan, for this the presentation on these 2 topics. Maybe we can move to the questions that we received on Slido. I understand that the first question is not related to the topics that you are presenting, so we will keep it on hold, and we will answer it when we present topic number 6. As for the second question, I think it is an important question indeed. I will read it out loud to you. Is there any mandatory action required in the call for achieving alignment with LeapPlanet, the project that was mentioned in the topic number 5, which you refer to on the fact that the proposal should align with the result of LeapPlanet?
Well, no, it goes beyond that. LeapPlanet now is a project, but its main outcome is to establish a network of pilot lines, and this network will extend its life beyond the life of the project. And the aim of this network is to gather best practices, to have exchanges also on recommendations for standardization, input on skills requirements, and so on and so forth. So there is a very important harmonization and alignment mechanism that is set up through this network. And what the proposals should address is just a mechanism for reaching out to this LeapPlanet network and to ensure that everything is foreseen in the workflow of the project, so that at the appropriate times you foresee the interactions with LeapPlanet, you really foresee that you set up these links.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm looking at Slido. I don't believe there is another question that has been posted yet. So as I said, we will keep on hold the question on the materials to the next presentation. So what I suggest now we can do is to move on to the next presentation on the next topic, topic number 6, and I will ask Susanna to take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Philippe. Yes, I will now present to you topic number 6. So this topic is about sustainable, safe, and efficient battery recycling. More particularly, it is about creating innovative, realistic, and holistic recycling processes in Europe, in order to exploit EV and stationary battery waste, as well as a production scrap resulting from large battery manufacturing. So proposals should aim for the following expected outcomes, as you can see on the screen. So first, improve the access to battery materials and strengthen European raw material independency. So by increasing the circularity of material flows and the use of secondary raw materials in new batteries that are produced in Europe. So on this, you can also see topic number 1. Second, offer solutions that are upscalable. So for the next generation of batteries and that are at the same time sustainable, safe, and energy efficient, again, with the aim of increasing European competitiveness. Then we have reduced recycling costs and environmental impact. So through new and disruptive concepts for very high efficiency recycling. Then we have also, very importantly, improved health and safety aspects that are anyway inherent to the recycling process. And all of this should be done to support the industry meeting new regulatory targets for battery recycling, which will be proposed by the new battery regulation. Next slide, please. So the scope of this topic is quite dense, as you can see from the screen. So I mentioned it already. So the focus is on creating innovative and realistic recycling processes in Europe, so that are flexible but also adaptive in order to curb battery waste and also production scrap. So this means implementing intelligent process designs through the integration of selected fractions into existing industrial infrastructure, or through other innovative integrations of fractions or processes. So here you can note that existing metallurgical infrastructure of primary materials may be used in order to support a transition towards green technologies. So yes, these innovative recycling processes should aim to recover the highest amount of resources present within secondary raw materials, resulting from spent lithium batteries, so both with and without transition metals, for the reuse, for the precise reuse of these materials. Part of the scope is also to develop material recycling routes that target, where possible, obviously, next generation battery cathode and anode materials, and improve the vertical integration to component and to cell manufacturing. So this covers low value chemicals from manufacturing processes that should actually be returned to high value. Then proposals should also aim to reach for utmost recovery rates and for recovered material purity in order to meet industrial requirements for in-the-loop integration of cell manufacturing. And in that sense as well, as you can see, so the recovery, reuse, repurposing, and also reconditioning of battery materials and electrodes and also components should be maximized, and the recycling discharge should be minimized. And so to do so, proposals should also develop new unit processes or also innovative combinations of optimized unit processes. So this includes, but is not limited to, leaching, smelting, roasting, pyrolysis, centrifuging, and so on. And so finally, but certainly not least, proposals are expected to identify and address health risks, environmental impacts, safety hazards, and new safety practices that are related to these developed processes. Next slide, please. So here again, some practical details. We have a research and innovation action that aims for a TRL of between 5 and 6 or above. So 30 million euros are allocated to this topic for the funding of 3 projects. So here as well, proposals are expected to promote a life cycle approach in collaboration, with topic number 4 under destination 5. So on life cycle analysis and the design for sustainable circularity. 2 other remarks. So as the key focus of this topic is on sustainability and competitiveness of recycling processes, cooperation with the topic on sustainable refining and recycling of raw materials should be ensured. So topic number 1, both under the 2021 call and also under the 2022 call. And then finally, for this topic, international collaboration is encouraged. And with that, Philippe, over to you.
Thank you, Susanna. So we have time for a few questions, and we have actually received a few questions. And maybe we will start with the second question that is related not only to that topic that you just presented, but to the first topic that you presented in this session just at the beginning. And the question is as follows: coming back to topic D2 1.1. Flow sheet flexibility. How should we understand flexibility? Is it robustness or adaptability to other products? Can you answer that question, Susanna?
Yes, I mean, for me, the way I see it, so the flexibility is really about the adaptability to other products. So it's really to enhance the entire process and the sustainable process. So it's more about adaptability. Johan, maybe you want to add something to that?
No, I agree with your interpretation.
Thank you. And maybe we can move on to the first question that we have been keeping for a while now, which is on the materials. Are there any battery materials that are less attractive for the EU Commission than others? Would be better to stick to more common materials? Johan, maybe you have an answer to that?
Yes, I would say that it's more common sense, I think, to stick to more common materials, just because there will be more of them and there is a higher demand for the recycling of it as well. So indeed, I would put the focus on the more common materials for topic 01006. Other approaches can be interesting, but they would require a little bit more justification, I think. And the aim there is really to recover a maximum of mainly high value materials to feed back into the lithium-ion battery manufacturing.
Okay, so it seems that also all of a sudden this topic 06 has attracted a lot of attention. So can we take the questions from Slido? The first one is on repurposing and refurbishing. So does the EU6 goal also include repurposing, refurbishing, repair of batteries, make EOL car batteries fit for urban uses or e-bike? So who wants to take that questions? Susanna?
So for this question about repurposing and refurbishing, for me, it's not particularly covering the repair. So yes, Johan, maybe you want to jump in.
No, I agree with you. The focus is really on the recycling. So repair and second life are not covered by this topic. It's what happens after the recycling, the second life, the repurposing or repair. It's really going back to the raw materials that are captured inside the batteries. So it's the stage beyond, if you like.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can jump in already to the questions, which is the third question on Slido, which is on the international cooperation. In that topic, Susanna, you refer to the fact that there is an international outreach and the cooperation with third countries is encouraged. I think that's the word that was mentioned. And do we have anything in mind as regards this international cooperation? So the question, as it has been put on Slido, is what kind of countries are meant with international cooperation? Is it including organizations from SINA? So we are using the C word here. So any views, Susanna?
So, well, regarding international cooperation, so really this should be as broad as possible. So to share practices and also knowledge sharing. So it's both also for technical exchange between countries and to cover really the particularities of different markets. So yes, as broad as possible, I would say for international collaboration on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, I should say, if I may, on that point, the participation of third countries, as always, for the framework program for research innovation, that may be Horizon Europe, but the previous programs as well. We have a schizophrenic approach when it comes to participation of third countries, in the sense that any country can participate to any proposal that is submitted in any call, and but we make the distinction between participation and funding. And as it happens in the case of organizations that would be located in countries like China, for instance, they are allowed to participate, but they would not necessarily receive funding from the Commission. So they would have to come with their own funding. And this is something that the proposers should be checking, of course, before investing in the participation of such an organization in their consortium. Okay, I can see that we have received in the meantime quite a number of more questions. So we maybe this time we'll take them in the order of preference or the plebiscite from the participants. Is there another call that covers refurbishing Second Life? Susanna?
I'm not sure. I think I don't think so. Johan, maybe you know this better.
Yeah, I can step in here. I think refurbishing per se is going to be more addressed by partnerships that cover the application areas. And for instance, Second Life applications would also fall under that, where you take spent car batteries and use them for stationary storage, integrate them into an energy grid or system. So you would find them more under energy calls than you would find them here under the pure battery call. Like I said, it really focuses on the cells from the raw materials down to the recycling, but then the applications branch out across the various partnerships.
Thank you both. Maybe there is, we can take the first question there, which is not easy for me to understand, I have to say, and it relates to topic number 6. So I read it out loud. If a company uses a recycled element, for example, aluminum, copper, etc., in different industry, for example, construction, is it okay to get involved in the call? I don't know if any of you can answer that question.
Well, if I may, I would say that the focus is really to feed back the recovered materials into battery production and to go for the right purity of the extracted materials to be able to recycle them in battery production. So getting materials like aluminium and copper away from the batteries and use them elsewhere, it goes more against the spirit, if you like, of the topic, even if it is not explicitly forbidden. That would be my response.
I think it's a valid point that you are making. Regarding the second question, which refers to the call that the topic 02 that you presented earlier on, Johan, on 3B generation batteries. Can we include research on semi-solid batteries, or is it that already topic 013 on generation 4A?
That's a tricky one. How do you define semi-solid batteries? My inclination would be to go more towards the topic 03 on the generation 4A for the semi-solid. But I agree, it is a bit borderline, and it depends on your interpretation of semi-solid batteries. So.
Okay, well, that's on the basis of the questions that we received. I mean, this is the best answer that we can provide. And then we have a final question, which is a general question. Do we refer to batteries for e-mobility, batteries for e-mobility and energy, or batteries for a more general use? I mean, a general question. Johan?
I think the guiding line is that we aim for the highest possible performance in the current list of topics that we have there. Their prime application is going to be e-mobility, but of course nothing excludes applications elsewhere. Energy is totally acceptable as well. But having said that, we will have dedicated calls on battery types that are more suitable for stationary generation as well. So this is aiming at the highest level of performance, therefore more suitable or most suitable for e-mobility, but of course, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I can see there is another question again, which is very much related to what we have been discussing previously on the semi-solid batteries. So my understanding is that we have replied to that question already.
I think it's the same question. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you very much to both of you. So we are getting close to the end of that session, but not yet. We have still a topic to present, and I would like to ask Susanna to present the last topic for that session, topic 7 for the batteries. Susanna, the floor is yours.
Yes, so please bear with me. So I will present the final topic of the 2021 call. So this is a CSA providing support for the establishment of a pan-European R&I ecosystem on batteries. So the full title, which you can see on the screen. So this CSA will help to bring together all stakeholders within the battery value chain in a strategic and coordinated manner, to ensure that collective research is translated into sustainable technologies, but also into products that are economically, environmentally, and socially viable. So the continuous consolidation of already an existing battery R&I community is needed. So across the EU, across associated countries, but also across battery networks. And so exceptionally for this topic, third country participation is not planned. So another expected outcome of this topic is to facilitate access to information to all stakeholders, so to promote a one-stop shop on battery R&I, including information on national programs, events, battery projects, and national battery networks. So in that respect, R&I efforts can be mobilized to really share synergies and research results along the entire value chain. So this CSA will also help to establish research industry collaborations, information sharing and expert group work in order to reduce time to market of technologies, but also to improve European competitiveness. The aim here is also to attract the necessary talent that is needed to reach technical goals and to support European industries. So the CSA will also, on another hand, support policymakers, so for providing scientific evidence on ongoing research being done throughout this R&I ecosystem, and also help to increase international collaboration on batteries. Next slide, please. Yes, again, you see the scope for this topic is quite dense, as you can see on the screen. So proposals are expected to develop a strategic research approach for all stakeholders, so throughout the entire European battery value chain, as well as update the SCHIA, the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, as well as other relevant roadmaps through expert group work. Another part of the scope is to facilitate cross-collaboration between experts from different fields, so identifying challenges, opportunities, and also developing synergies. Then we have established and update KPIs and target KPIs for both current and future battery technology and R&I activities. So this is to be done via the progress monitoring of the set plan and of the SCHIA. Then we have implement and adopt uniform standards and methodologies for reporting on battery research, so across the EU, across national projects. There's also another part of the scope is to execute a clear communication plan to host a dedicated website, so organizing events, facilitating networking opportunities. And finally, part of the scope is also to cooperate with ETIPs and with similar stakeholders in order to provide support to the existing set implementation plan towards more interconnected activities. So this goes both in terms of content, but also in terms of implementation. So here you see a reference to a topic which is actually the CSA to support ETIP activities and technology areas of the set plan, but this should be topic number 15 and not 17. So this is still a reference that needs to be updated, and that will do so. Next slide, please. So again, I will close with some practical details. So the action, this action is a common support action. There are no expected TRLs, yet there's a budget of 3 million euros for the funding of one proposal. A couple of final remarks. So the project's main governance will include the involvement of the EC for policy collaboration, also in line to further support the set plan. The project should also promote and facilitate international collaboration within obviously the geographical scope of this topic, so Europe and associated countries. And as I mentioned earlier, sort of third country participation is not foreseen due to the nature of this topic and the focus on having a pan-European research network. And then finally, proposals should possess both technical and operative expertise so as to ensure high quality coordination, but also technical outputs. And with this, this is the final topic, and I give the floor back to you, Philippe.
Thank you, Susanna. Very clear. And despite the fact that it is, in terms of budget, a small topic, it's still a very important initiative that we want to support for the batteries in Europe. And we can move on now to the questions that we received in the meantime. So there is a general question that has been put on Slido regarding thermal management of batteries. Is thermal management of batteries one of the requirements of any of the two topics? So I don't know if any one of you, either Susanna or Johan, want to answer that questions.
Yes, Philippe, I'll take it because indeed thermal management is not explicitly mentioned, but you could read it as more implicit in topics 2 and 3, because we are working towards high cyclability. And in the case of topic number 3, the generation 4 batteries, we are also looking at high C rates for the charging speed. So in that case, I think it is more or less implicit that you would also address thermal management of the batteries up to a certain level, just to ensure that you indeed have a pathway towards reaching the KPIs that are being put forward there. So again, not explicitly, but implicitly, yes, topics 2 and 3.
Thank you. Thank you. Very clear. Maybe we can move to the third question that I can see here on the screen, and back to you, Susanna, on topic 7. How is this topic related to the ETIP Batteries Europe?
Yeah, I think Johan would be better placed to answer this question.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. I can switch back to Johan.
Okay. Well, indeed, it is supposed to integrate the ETIP Batteries Europe. So the CSA has the aim to set up an entire ecosystem and to build this network out of the existing ETIP that is going to continue its life under Horizon Europe, and also to establish links with Battery 2030 Plus, with LePlanet, the network that I already mentioned earlier. So the CSA is really trying to pull all of this together in order to have this one-stop shop where you can get all of the information on funding opportunities. They will also provide input towards strategic research and innovation agenda, and so on and so forth. So it incorporates it.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can move to the first question. Sorry, losing my voice, which is related to the first topic that was presented this morning. Maybe Susanna, you want to take it?
Yes, so this is about existing flow sheets and if precursor existing flow sheets are okay. So I would say the focus is on continuous processing. So yes, this would be okay, since the scope of this topic is to both complement existing processes, but also, you know, create new ones. But with a continuous focus on, focus on continuous processing. I don't know, Johan, if you want to add anything.
He's nodding, so
yes.
Nodding is good.
The answer is satisfactory. Maybe you can keep the floor and answer the third question on international cooperation, because your last comments and the practical information to the call have seemed to have intrigued some of the participants as regard the international collaboration in topic 7. Topic 7 aims at facilitating international collaboration, but not integrating the consortium participants from third countries. Correct? Question mark.
Easy answer, correct.
Can you elaborate?
Yes, no. So again, the topic aims to facilitate international collaboration. For in a European network, European area, and also and also associated countries, but not third country participation. That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Maybe the first questions, which is not related directly to a topic, but I may be mistaking here, is the following: is resource use and mining included in the scope, or does it start further downstream? I don't know if any one of you want to take that question. Johan, maybe I can see you hesitate.
I'm reading through the whole text. I mean, my gut feeling would be to say that we look more at the raw materials rather than the mining per se. So so I would say indeed starting a little bit further downstream, but to establish the links with the raw materials cluster 4.
Okay, well, I think that's a good answer. Thank you. And then we have a general question, which is very important, which I'm surprised is only asked towards the end of this session, because it's something that typically could have been asked right from the beginning, which is the relationship between the Battery Alliance, the ET Batteries Europe, the Partnership Battery for EU, the Association, and the Batteries 2030. And the good thing is, Johan, you will be recorded. So for eternity, we will know now the relationship between those various initiatives. So the floor is yours.
Okay, very challenging. Good. The overall umbrella, I would say, is the European Battery Alliance. And this puts in place a number of measures in order to stimulate the competitiveness of Europe. It provides for funding, it provides for skills development, but it also puts a lot of emphasis on research and innovation activities. So you could say that the partnership, Bat4EU, EU, it should be, is in fact the implementing arm for the R&I aspects of the European Battery Alliance. The ETIP, Batteries Europe, is still going to continue its life, like I said, and it is going to feed into the partnership, as does Batteries 2030 Plus, because both the ETIP and Batteries 2030 Plus really look at the state of the art globally. They try to identify long-term goals that we should strive for. And therefore, they provide very valuable input to guide the targets of the partnership. So they will remain in place and they will feed into the partnership, helping us to steer the strategic research and innovation agenda, the KPIs, but also the topic definition over the following years. Then the association, BEPA, the Batteries European Partnership Association, is, as I explained, the counterpart of the European Commission in this partnership. So they are this grouping of 165 members, maybe 165 plus by now, and they sign a memorandum of understanding, or they have already done so, in which they engage themselves to contribute to the various goals of the partnership, including this matching of the funding that the Commission has put forward through these different in-kind contributions that I mentioned earlier. Incidentally, while we are on the topic, I would like to mention that I got confirmation that the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, in its non-approved form, but which is still very stable, and already there is an informal agreement on it, will be published as such, so as a non-approved version on the website of BEPA. So it should be available for consultation over the coming days. And then in the course of September, once we have the first partnership board meeting, it will be formally approved and it will also become an official commission document.
Thank you, Johan, and thank you for this additional information. It's very useful indeed. And thank you for the exhaustive, comprehensive explanation of the different, of the explanation of what the different initiatives and activities on batteries in Europe are actually contributing to. We are moving very slowly towards the end of this session, and I see that we have exhausted all the questions that were put on Slido. So I think it's time for me to thank very much the speakers for their participation, for their presentations. They were very, very clear. And thank you very much for going through these sessions and answering the questions that were put to you. I would like also to take this opportunity to thank the back office that ensured a smooth organization of that session. It went without any problem, and that's remarkable. So thank you very much to you. I'd like also to take advantage of this last minute to thank my colleague Ludger Roge, that was managing the Slido moderation in the background and make sure that all your questions were put to us. Before I close this session, I would like to stress what Johan mentioned in his first few slides on the fact that if you are interested in these topics and if you want to prepare and submit a proposal, attending and participating to the Info Day is one thing, but you must go to the funding and tender portal. You must access all the information that is available there before preparing anything, and you need to go through the work program very carefully and with a lot of attention, because you will find that this is where all the information is. And on the participant portal, you will find also all the additional documents that you need to take into account before preparing a proposal. It's a lot of investment, it's a lot of time and energy that you need to spend in the preparation of this proposal. So you must make sure that you have all the information at hand. So on this last note, I would like to thank the participants for their contribution. And again, thanks everyone for the good management of this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.